Hello and welcome to That's Football. It's our Monday latest transfer football news, and we're going to start off with Jose Mourinho comments before the West Bromwich Albion loss. But he did say that Manchester United will not be doing anything big in the transfer market this summer, which I marry up with Manchester City, who've done something very big this season by winning the title. Yesterday, obviously, Manchester United lost to West Brom. That's not the reason Man City won the title. It was embarrassing that losing handed them the title, but Man City were always going to win it, and win it by quite a comfortable margin. That's the challenge for the Premier League next season, even if everybody stands still. But Manchester City aren't going to stand still. They are linked to Kylian Mbappe because PSG have got potential financial fair play issues. They are linked to Thiago Alcantara at Bayern Munich, who would be perfect for a Pep Guardiola team. That is two big signings that would massively enhance a team that's decimated the Premier League this year. Why would Pep do that? One, because he's got an open checkbook to do it, but more importantly, in fairness to him, two, they failed in the Champions League at the quarter-final stage against Liverpool. They have to improve in the Champions League. That's where they're measured. How does he do that? I need more players. So he goes and buys more players, which then widens the gap between Man City and everybody else. So if Manchester United and Mourinho are not going to spend big and do anything major this summer, how is he closing the gap? And basically, his quotes were along the lines of, well, if Manchester City improve, it's whether we can, are they going to widen that gap? And that's from his mouth. So, I mean, what is the response from Manchester United? Is Mourinho towing the party line there? Do Manchester United need to spend a lot of money? Personally, I think yesterday was poor and hard to take. Man City game could have been a bit of a blip. That second half, Man City took the foot off the pedal. Everything will be measured in the Spurs game. There's nowhere to hide in the FA Cup semi-final, and Spurs are a good team. So I would wait to that before you start judging Mourinho. But in relation to the bigger picture and closing the gap with Man City, I think it's a challenge for all clubs. Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United. That's not where Man City are going to win the title, lose the title next year. It's going to be whether they're going to obliterate your Huddersfields and your Brightons, and whether they can deal with the tactics that Manchester City go out and do. And I think that's where the struggle is. So effectively, teams like Liverpool, Manchester United, if they want to challenge for the title next year, they've basically got to go into games like Brighton, Swansea, if they stay up, and guarantee that that's 6 points home and away. Because that is for Man City. They hardly lose any games. They win nearly every game, and they win every game against the bottom teams. I think Crystal Palace is the only team to get a draw from them. So that's the challenge. Do Manchester United, do Liverpool need to spend more? Well, yes. Liverpool's midfield's not good enough. Liverpool's defence and goalkeeper aren't good enough. Manchester United generally are a team of individuals with no team ethic. They are not good enough. Are there youth players coming through that they don't need to buy players? Yes. Are they ready next season? I don't know. I don't know whether they're going to be ready about that. I just do want to talk about as well. Let's have a look at some of the other news that's going on in the world of football. The gossip column specifically. Zlatan Ibrahimovic looks like he'll be going to the World Cup. Really excited about that. We'll be doing a lot of watch-alongs on That's Football for the World Cup. So I'm happy that Zlatan will be going. Yeah, I am happy with that. Apparently Christopher White says I need to get some sleep. I wonder whether there was something wrong with the lighting. I'm alright. I'm alright. I look unwell. I think there's something wrong with the lighting. Let's have a look. See, the lighting to me looks okay, but maybe I've overdone it a little bit. Oh well, thank you there. Scott Nugent, you look a bit bad. I'm going to have to play this myself and have a look at this. Yeah, I've messed the lighting up, haven't I? It doesn't look great. That's not what I'm seeing on my screen, so let me knock that over there a little bit. It might be a little bit bright. Yeah, the lights. Oh, you worried me there. I thought I was bleeding from the brain or something, from the ear. But anyway, let's get back onto the football gossip. LA Galaxy's Zlatan Ibrahimovic in the World Cup would be fantastic, and hopefully we'll be there because we're doing the watch-alongs on That's Football as well. Talking about a goalkeeper, Liverpool have been linked with Alisson. We've mentioned him a couple of times from Roma. Obviously, we'll be playing them in a couple of weeks. Roma's president have said that they've got no intention of selling him. Liverpool do need a goalkeeper though. And looks like another defender at Chelsea could be on his way out. Only bought last summer. Antonio Rudiger, not involved in that Southampton game. Had no idea. Said he was fully fit. No idea why he wasn't involved in that game. And Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City and Tottenham are all set to resume their attempt to secure more money from the Premier League overseas television rights. And this, I mean, it's a good and bad thing. If you're a fan of the top clubs, it's a good thing. If you're not a fan of the top clubs, then it's a bad thing because it means less money for you, more for them. The gap widens, but that gap is widening anyway, isn't it? I mean, Leicester won the title not far long ago, but I mean, I don't know whether that can happen. I mean, interestingly enough, Wolverhampton Wanderers promoted at the weekend. They are a team that I think could do quite well in the Premier League next season. I really do think they could. And they've got money. They've got a good setup. They've got a lot of players on loan. But watch out for Wolves. I think I said it 3 or 4 months ago. I think that Wolves, I'd put a tenner on Wolves finishing in the top 10 next season. I think guaranteed they'll finish in the top 10. Obviously, the top 6 positions are pretty much nailed down, aren't they? Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, Manchester United, Man City, Liverpool. But there's 4 spots there. And I think Wolves have got a good chance next season in relation to making an impact in the Premier League. But what stuns me about the Premier League, well, I just get the Premier League table up. I mean, I'm aware of it because I looked at it last night, but it really, really surprised me that we are looking at West Brom are going to go down, I think, which are an established Premier League team, which I think this is what saddens me a little bit. You get what you deserve in the Premier League. These teams deserve to go down, but we're going to have a pretty weak Premier League next year, I think, in relation to your Man City. I think they're just going to pick up so many 6 points against your Brightons, against your Bournemouths, against your Huddersfields. They just don't have the wherewithal to deal with the dominance that City have with the manager, the style of play, but also the depth in quality. They don't really have a puncher's chance. And we look at teams that are going down. West Brom, Stoke, Southampton, traditionally, if Man City are going to play them, certainly United, if you're away to Stoke or Southampton or West Brom, you're not necessarily going to get 3 points because they're established Premier League clubs. They look like all 3 of them are going to go down, which I think is a loss to the Premier League in relation to strength in depth. I think we are, I'm very critical of La Liga, the French league especially, pub leagues, because beyond 2 or 3 teams, the rest of it is 6 points are a given. And there will be shocks next year, but with Brighton's, Bournemouth's, Huddersfield's, and whoever's going to come up, I guarantee there'll be another one. I think it more or less just says that's a guaranteed 6 points. But Southampton, Stoke, and West Brom have only got themselves to blame. Southampton are 3rd from bottom. They're 5 points adrift of Swansea. So that's a lot to try and pull back in 5 games. And they've all got difficult fixtures. I mean, Southampton have got an FA Cup semi-final. Looks like they're going to go down. Stoke look like they're going to go down. And West Brom as well. But the most interesting thing for me really is that when it comes down to it, that Stoke and West Brom, obviously in their time, they've moved on. Tony Pulis, he would have kept them up comfortably. So yeah, it's a bit interesting about that. Anyway, let's have a look what people are saying in the live comments. Do you think Martial will leave? Says Josh Lloyd. I'll be talking about that at 1 o'clock on the United stand. We've got a tactics debrief. It's going to be quite a heated show, that. There is a Skype show tonight on the United stand, Jordan Freeman. It's a big topic, actually. We're talking, it's basically just a show about Alexis Sanchez where people can call in and give us their thoughts, because I personally feel that the Alexis Sanchez signing for Manchester United, as of this moment, I'm not saying it won't be a good one in the future, but as of this moment, is an absolute disaster. I feel sorry for Sanchez, but it's a disaster. He's not played well, and it's impacted so many other players around him. But, Sanchez didn't walk to Manchester, did he? Somebody bought him. There was the decision made there. So we're talking about that tonight, but at 1 o'clock we're talking about the tactics. Burnley are coming for Arsenal, says Lamia Syed. I mean, I must say in relation to Arsenal, I know they lost yesterday, but is that a meltdown? I mean, I occasionally I will watch the Arsenal fan TV fan cams because they're funny. I didn't watch. I had no interest in watching them yesterday because the reality is it's a non-entity. It's a nothing. Manchester United were in that position last year. When you play in Europa League on a Thursday, it's very difficult to play on the Sunday, no matter who you are, especially away from home. It's very difficult. And United hemorrhaged points in the league as well. And let's not forget, United play Arsenal in a couple of weeks, sandwiched between the Atletico Madrid games. So I don't expect Arsenal to put out much of a performance for that either. So we'll see what happens. And everybody was trash versus Sevilla. What's happened to financial fair play, says Christopher White. God knows what it's happened to it in relation to Manchester City. There seems to be something brewing about PSG, but we'll have to wait and see with that. I mean, I'm as much in the dark as any of you. On the other hand, Championship's going to be fantastic next year, says Jez Stevenson. It's going to be very, very competitive next season. I mean, in relation to the Championship at the moment, the league table is obviously we've got Wolverhampton Wanderers who've been promoted. Cardiff City are in second place, but only by a point from Fulham and 4 points from Aston Villa. Then you've got Middlesbrough and Millwall, but Derby County are right on the edge of the playoffs. Preston North End could have a chance, and maybe, just maybe, Sheffield United might slip in there as well. So yeah, I think Wolves are up, obviously, and then probably looking at Cardiff or Fulham or Villa. So they're all quite big clubs. I'd rather Cardiff and Villa over Fulham. And then Middlesbrough don't want to come up. I think Millwall or Derby would be interesting if Derby can slip in. I don't want Middlesbrough to come up. I don't really like the North East clubs, if I'm honest. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I'm back at 1 o'clock on the United stand. I'm going to sort my bloody lighting out. God knows what's gone wrong there. I look like I've had my liver removed. 8 o'clock tonight on the United stand. 1 o'clock on the United stand as well. Team Tactics debrief. And then we're back here tomorrow at midday. I don't know what watch-alongs we're doing on this channel this week because I've not really looked at what's going on midweek. I think we're definitely going to do Chelsea-Southampton FA Cup semi-final at the weekend. But we'll keep you in touch for that. But back at midday tomorrow. Please drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. Get involved with That's Football. I'll speak to you all soon.